Welcome to this ISO QSL webinar, Customer First or Staff First. This is me, Julia Meaden. I have over 20 years experience of working in quality, in business coaching and training, and I'm a Senior Lead Assessor for ISO QSL. Objectives for this session: to provide some hints and tips on putting staff first, to consider how to put the customer first, and to pose some questions throughout for you to consider, hopefully back with the team beyond today's session. I also encourage you to think about how to take forward these ideas and adapt them for your business. We're really challenging you to take some action on the things that you take away from today's session. So, which should you put first, customer or staff? It's not a trick question. Which should you put first? How does this work in your business? Our conclusion is staff first, for very many reasons, one of them being that actually if your staff are unhappy, it often means unhappy customers. The service that your staff give to your customers is often a reflection of how they feel within your business. So your job as a business owner or a manager is to look after the staff. If you do this really well, the staff will look after the customer. So you could think of it as a cycle where we put staff first and they in turn put the customer first. A really great quote, I think, from Sir Richard Branson: put your staff first, your customers second, and your shareholders third. If we think about putting staff first, this is really the responsibility, the primary responsibility, you could argue, of the business owner, but also for anyone else responsible for leading the team within the business. So some questions for you to consider: does this happen in your business? Do you put the team first? What do you do to demonstrate that you value the team? And how does it work in your business? There are many ways that you can take to demonstrate that you value staff. So ask some questions with your management team perhaps about how does this work? How do we demonstrate to the team that they're important? Building the team is really critical. So working with people at an individual level to help to encourage them, to develop them, and then looking at how the team operates, because the team working together, particularly across the business, can be a real boost to helping to improve your customer satisfaction levels. You may want to think about how you recognise or reward your staff. Often when we talk about recognition and reward, we tend to think about a monetary reward, and it might be that that's the route that you take, perhaps a performance bonus or a payment for an idea, something for example that saved the company money. Or you may offer a menu approach. What I mean by that is that different recognition and reward approaches can have varied value to different team members. So are you able to offer a menu of things that people can select from in order that they feel that it's something that really matters to them? Recognition in its most simple form, of course, is a thank you for a job well done. And something you might want to do is to just consciously think throughout a day or a week, how many times do you thank people for doing something, particularly if they've gone that extra mile? Don't underestimate the value of that saying thank you for a job well done. So how often do you do this in your business? How often do your business leaders, how often do you say thank you for going the extra mile to the team? If you try it, if it's something you don't consciously do and you try it, it will have a significant impact on how people feel in terms of being valued. Organisational values, of course, are a great way of defining what matters within the business and of building the culture that you want to create. So have you defined your organisation values? And if you have, do they reflect people? Do they reflect the value that you put on people? For example, some businesses that I've worked with give staff a day off for their birthday. An incredibly powerful thing to do in those businesses. Actually feeling that their special day is a day that they've been given off within the business. So it doesn't have to be complex, the things that you do to reward and recognise people, but think about how this might work within your business. Measuring satisfaction is always quite important if you're looking to improve. So within your business, a really good question is, how do you know how satisfied your staff are? For example, a staff survey could be used. Is that something you've done within your business? If you did, how did it work? How often did you repeat it? And what did you do with the results? But of course there are other indicators of staff satisfaction, things like absence levels, staff turnover, staff involvement and engagement. So what measures have you got in place? What are the kind of things that are telling you whether your people are satisfied? And what are those indicators that help you to see where you might need to take some action? So staff first, part of valuing people really is listening to them. So if you listen to your staff and where possible act on what you hear or what you learn from them, again that's a really good way of recognising people's contribution. And importantly, in my experience, if you can't act on what you hear or what you learn, say so and say why. Often we miss out as business owners the why, and actually that can be really helpful for people to understand the context, for example, of a decision that you've made. This for me is really important. Customer service is not a department, it's an attitude. And that attitude is really key, and it will make a massive difference if your staff have an attitude that really does demonstrate putting the customer first. So again, think about how that works in your business. Can you think of any examples where you have put the customer first? So thinking more about the customer first, we'll all be aware that it's cheaper to retain customers than to gain new ones. So loyalty is key. So what do you do in your business to encourage customer loyalty and retention? How many customers have you lost? Do you understand why you've lost them? Do you do any analysis of lost customers? Do you do anything to try to get those lost customers back? And if you have done anything differently as a result of any loss, then what has that achieved for you in terms of results? So what have you done differently, and has that really worked for you in terms of decreasing the number of customers that you lose and maybe getting some of those customers back? So again, some really good questions to consider within the business. Some of you may have come across this moment of truth defined by Jan Carlson, and the definition is: any time the customer comes into contact with any aspect of a company, however remote, he or she has an opportunity to form an impression. So it follows that moments of truth could be good or bad. The impression that the customer forms could be good or bad. So it follows that every opportunity to make a difference when in contact with your customers will create your business reputation. So think about that. Any contact at all with you gives the opportunity for this moment of truth. Now in practice, when customers are in contact with us as an organisation, as a business, in practice they're often in contact with frontline staff. Often you might say some of the most junior staff within the business. So it's important, I think, to think about how you prepare your staff to deal with customers. For example, staff training. What staff training, if any, do you give to help staff to deal with customers? What about observation and feedback, particularly if you're in the service sector or with the sales team? Do you ever observe your staff interacting with customers and then give them feedback on what they did well and what they might improve? Sometimes a customer charter can be a useful tool. So have you developed a customer charter? And if you have, how do you use it? What difference does it make within the business? And then embedding customer service in any aspect of the business that you can. For example, in the organisation values, in staff appraisal. When you appraise staff, when you appraise their performance, do you talk to them about how they deal with customers? Do you think about how those skills and that knowledge of customer service can be developed and enhanced? So again, some really good questions to think about. Thinking about the process of customer first, customer journey mapping can be a really good activity where you look at the process throughout the whole journey of the customer, from when they first make contact with you to when they have received your service and beyond, maybe to when we get some feedback from them. So beginning to end, what's the customer journey? Have you mapped that out? It can be a really effective way of taking customer first forward. Voice of the customer in the process is a concept that comes from lean and lean efficiency. So when you develop a process, do you think of that process from the customer's perspective? So the customer's perspective is the voice of the customer in the process. Or are all of your processes designed in order that they're the easiest way that you guys can deal with them internally? Customer value add, again coming from Lean, anything that we do that adds value for our customer is a really important part of any process. And have we got joined up processes? Have we got processes throughout the business, going back perhaps to our customer journey map, that really do help us to put the customer first? Or are the bits within our process, maybe departments or teams, where it all kind of comes apart? So think about how your customer goes through your business from a process point of view, and look at whether there might be any opportunities to improve there or to join up those processes. Again, measure. Same with staff measures. It's important to have some measures around our customers. And in terms of customer service, we have to have some measures in place if we're going to chart and target our progress to reach that elusive excellence in customer service. So think about how you measure customer service. A really good question to ask with the team is, how satisfied are our customers, and how do we know that? Again, you could use a survey, a customer survey. Is that something you've used, you have used? How has that worked? What kind of response rate did you get from it? And again, did you have anything that changed as a result of that feedback? There are, of course, other indicators of customer satisfaction, things like customer turnover, levels of repeat business, the number of testimonials, and referrals. What do you do within your customer base to try to encourage your customers to refer others based on the service that they've received from you? So again, some good questions. Do you have any customer measures in place? If you have, what are they telling you? Are you improving? Are you doing things differently in order to change? And again, thinking about your organisational values, do they reflect your approach to customers? So again, reviewing these things, measures and values, can help you to move forward. In summary, put staff first, because they will then put the customer first. Ensure the voice of the customer is reflected in your processes. Measure both staff and customer satisfaction and use those results to really drive improvement. And make sure that your values reflect your people and your customers. Set some people and customer measures and look for year-on-year improvement. Here at ISO QSL, we can help you in a number of ways. We can provide access to a free ISO 9001 introduction module. We can provide quality management training at your premises or at our premises at a preferential rate. And we can also offer one-to-one coaching. That could really help you to embed some of the things that we've talked about today. Please do claim your free module. If you go onto the ISO QSL website, it's fairly straightforward in terms of how to download, but if you want to talk to one of the team about the module and what it covers, then please do give us a call. Finally, if you have any questions about any of the topics that we've covered today or any other aspect of quality, then please do get in touch. We have our website, we have a Twitter account, and we have our email address. So please do get in touch with any questions. In the meantime, good luck, and please do take some action with some of the things that we've talked about today. Thank you for your time.